Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be showing you my wizard PvP build guide, from skills and gear to gameplay tips and combos that make this build really powerful, whether you're new to the class or looking to improve your setup. This guide should help you get the most out of your wizard. Let's get started. Alright, let's start with the stat allocation for this wizard PvP build. First, we focus on vitality because survivability is extremely important in PvP. Wizards are naturally squishy, so adding vitality gives us more HP and better resistance against burst damage and crowd control, helping us stay alive longer during fights. Next, we invest heavily into intelligence, since this is our main source of magic damage. Intelligence increases our magic attack, improves spell effectiveness, and also helps with SP management, allowing us to deal consistent damage throughout battles. After that, we put points into dexterity. Dexterity is very important for wizards because it reduces cast time, making our spells faster and harder for enemies to interrupt. In PvP, faster casting can decide whether you win or lose a fight. Finally, any remaining stat points will go into luck. Luck gives us extra magic damage potential and a bit of overall stat efficiency, making it a good choice for leftover points once the core stats are covered. So overall, this build balances survivability, strong magic damage, and faster casting speed, making it very effective for PvP situations. Here are my detailed stats for this build. Next, let's talk about equipment and divine armament. Choosing the right equipment setup is extremely important if you want to maximize the full potential of your wizard in PvP. For the weapon, I highly recommend using a one-handed staff for PvP. For your divine armament, go with Curse, since it massively reduces your global cooldown. This is very important for improving your overall casting flow and damage output during fights. Also, keep in mind that in Ragnarok Origin Classic, both fixed casting time and variable casting time are capped at 60%. Because of that, you should focus on reducing your global cooldown as much as possible, ideally reaching the 40% cap. Once you maximize these three important stats, fixed cast time reduction, variable cast time reduction, and global cooldown reduction, your wizard will achieve its maximum damage potential while maintaining fast and smooth spell casting in PvP. Next, let's talk about your offhand or shield setup. In PvP, having stronger defense is always better than focusing only on maximizing damage while sacrificing survivability. A dead wizard can't deal damage, so staying alive should always be one of your priorities. For your offhand divine armament, I highly recommend choosing Shadow Claws. This armament provides an 8% max HP bonus right away, which already gives your wizard much better survivability. Once refined to +6, it grants an additional 6% max HP whenever you receive healing for 10 seconds. At +10 refined, it also provides extra physical damage reduction, and at +15 refined, you gain additional magic damage reduction. This divine armament greatly improves your durability in PvP fights, allowing your wizard to survive longer, cast more spells, and become a much more reliable teammate during battles. Always remember, having high magic damage means nothing if you're constantly dead on the battlefield. For your shoes, armor, and cloak, I highly recommend using the sprint set for your divine armament setup. The sprint set provides excellent overall stats that are perfect for wizards right away. For cloak, it gives you additional max HP, helping improve your survivability in PvP. As you refine the set further, the bonuses become even better. At +3 refined, you gain additional magic damage reduction. At +6, you receive extra intelligence, which increases your magic damage output. At +10, the set provides additional magic damage percent, further boosting your burst potential. At +12, you gain even more magic damage reduction, and at +15, you receive a large max HP bonus for even better durability. Feel free to check the stat bonus of the armor and shoes here. But what truly makes a sprint set amazing for wizards is its powerful set effect when equipped on all three pieces: shoes, armor, and cloak. When you complete the full sprint set, you gain additional max SP +5%, global cooldown reduction -10%, and magic damage +8%. The global cooldown reduction is especially huge for magic casters because it allows you to cast skills much more smoothly and consistently during PvP fights. Overall, this divine armament setup is one of the best and most efficient choices for wizards. It gives you the perfect balance of survivability, faster casting flow, and higher magic damage output. Now, let's move on to equipment enchants. Choosing the right enchants for your wizard is very important because it makes your character much more reliable and effective in PvP fights. Starting with your headwear enchant, I highly recommend focusing on Ignore Magic defense at this stage of the game. Ignore Magic defense is extremely valuable because it's one of the hardest stats to obtain, since you can mainly get only from headwear and backwear enchants. Maximizing your Ignore Magic defense will significantly improve your damage output, especially when fighting tanky players or support classes with high magic defense. This allows your spells to deal much more consistent and effective damage during PvP battles. If you're lucky enough, you can also aim for special effect, Superior Magic Attack with double Ignore Magic defense substats. This is an excellent option, especially if you already have around 600 to 700 Ignore Magic defense. Right now, that's actually the setup I'm currently using while trying to reach at least 600 Ignore Magic defense, which I still haven't fully achieved yet. Next, let's talk about enchants. For your facewear, mouthwear, shield, and shoes. For these equipment pieces, your first priority should be physical damage reduction. The main reason is because some of the biggest threats to wizards in PvP are paladins and assassin cross classes, both of which deal extremely high physical damage. Reducing their burst damage greatly improves your survivability during fights. If you're not lucky enough to get physical damage reduction on your facewear or mouthwear yet, then using magic defense as a temporary option is perfectly fine while working toward your ideal setup. Overall, this is the enchant priority I recommend for these pieces. Physical damage reduction, vitality boost, magic damage reduction, counter, critical. Now for your armor and cloak enchants, you should prioritize vitality boost as your main enchant effect. For the substats, focus on intelligent vitality, max HP, magic defense, luck. This setup gives your wizard better survivability while still maintaining strong magic damage output. For your weapon and accessories, go with magic boon as your main enchant, then prioritize magic attack percentage as your substat. This is the best possible setup if you want to maximize your overall magic damage in PvP. For costume enchants, I highly recommend using Superior Magic Attack with raw magic attack substats to further increase your burst potential. Finally, for your backwear and headwear enchant, your best choice is Superior Magic Attack with double Ignore Magic defense substats. If possible, try to aim for triple Ignore Magic defense while rolling for your enchants. If you can't get Superior Magic Attack on your backwear yet, then PvP Technique is also a very strong second option for PvP-focused gameplay. Now let's talk about feathers. My current feather setup is built more like a glass cannon, focusing heavily on maximizing my overall damage output potential in PvP. For my attack feathers, I'm using a 4 orange and 1 purple setup to activate the powerful Raven's Hour effect. My current attack feather composition is Space Feather, Time Feather, Day Feather, Sky Feather, Faith Feather. However, if you feel like your character is lacking physical defense or survivability, you can replace the Faith Feather with Justice Feather for a more balanced setup. I also recommend repeating the same composition throughout all of your attack feather slots for consistency and better stat optimization. Now for the defense feathers, I'm also using a 4 orange and 1 purple setup to activate Raven's Hour once again. My defense feather composition is Divine Feather, Night Feather, Light Feather, Dark Feather, Justice Feather. Again, feel free to adjust this setup depending on your current overall stats and survivability. If you feel too squishy during PvP fights, you can always make defensive adjustments based on what your character needs. For upgrading feathers, this is a progression I personally recommend. First, upgrade all of your attack feathers to tier 5. After that, upgrade all of your defense feathers to tier 5 as well. Once every feather reaches tier 5, Start focusing on upgrading all attack feathers to tier 10 first to maximize your damage output. Then, go back and upgrade all your defense feathers to tier 10 afterward. Don't be afraid to experiment with different feather combinations and setups. Always pay attention to your overall stats and make adjustments depending on your PvP performance and what your character currently lacks. Now, let's talk about mount equipment barding. Barding is very important because it provides a huge amount of bonus stats that can significantly improve your wizard's performance in PvP. Since Heart of Valor is very difficult to farm, you need to be smart about which barding upgrades you prioritize first. Here are my current barding levels and the stats they provide. First is Dexterity Barding, currently at level 39. This gives max HP plus 240, Physical and Magic Attack plus 176, Physical and Magic Damage plus 0.34%, PvP Damage Reduction plus 340, PvP Damage Bonus plus 30. Next is Sturdy Barding, currently at level 49. This is one of my highest priorities because of the survivability it provides. It gives Physical Defense plus 220, Magic Defense plus 102, Max HP plus 312, Physical and Magic Damage Reduction plus 0.45%, PvP Damage Reduction plus 35, PvP Damage Bonus plus 440. After that is Strength Barding, currently at level 19. This mainly improves durability with the following stats. Max HP plus 1,350, Max HP plus 3.08%, Physical and Magic Damage Reduction plus 0.8%, Damage Reduction versus Small Enemies plus 2%, Damage Reduction versus Medium Enemies plus 4%, Damage Reduction versus Large Enemies plus 4%. Lastly, we have Protector Barding, currently at level 39. This provides both offensive and defensive bonuses, including Max HP plus 1.39%, Physical and Magic Attack plus 44, Physical and Magic Damage plus 1.36%, Damage versus Small Enemies plus 4%, Damage versus Medium Enemies plus 4%, Damage versus Large Enemies plus 4%. Now for the upgrade progression. This is the method I personally recommend. First, upgrade all of your barding to level 14. This is very efficient because it unlocks the important early stats while using a relatively low amount of Heart of Valor. After that, slowly upgrade them one by one based on your priorities. Since my main focus is PvP, I prioritize upgrading Sturdy Barding first to level 29 because survivability is extremely important for wizards. After that, I focus on Dexterity Barding, followed by Protector Barding. As your progression continues, simply repeat the same upgrade routine. Once your main barding pieces reach level 29, you can also start upgrading Strength Barding to level 19 for the additional HP and damage reduction bonuses. Of course, you can always reset and adjust your barding setup depending on your own playstyle and priorities. This is simply my personal progression path, and you can either follow it or create your own upgrade sequence based on what works best for you. Next, let's talk about medals. This is actually one of the areas where a lot of players fall behind in progression. Medals provide a massive boost to your character stats, especially for PvP performance. Unlike Heart of Valor, Fame can be farmed continuously to the gold shop, which makes medal progression much more consistent if you manage your resources properly. A lot of players don't prioritize buying Fame boxes because they prefer gambling their gold on refinement or spending on other gold shop items. Personally, I make sure to buy at least 1,000 to 3,000 Fame boxes every week from the gold shop. Instead of gambling most of my gold on refinement RNG, I prefer investing in Fame boxes because it guarantees steady and reliable character progression. Here are my current medal levels. First is Bravery, currently maxed at level 60. This medal provides Physical and Magic Attack plus 320. Next is Wisdom, also maxed at level 60. This gives Max HP plus 1,160, Magic Damage plus 21%. After that is Charm, currently maxed at level 60 as well. Charm provides Physical Damage Reduction plus 21%. Lastly, we have Tempest, currently at level 51. At this level, it provides Magic damage reduction plus 17.4%. Right now, my current goal is to fully maximize Tempest first. After that, I'll decide whether I want to continue investing heavily into fame boxes for gratitude and loyalty medals for my pets, or start putting more resources into refinement gambling. I'll keep you guys updated on that in my future videos and streams. Now let's talk about guild skills. Your guild skill progression may be different from other players depending on your guild laboratory level, since a laboratory determines the maximum level your guild skills can reach. For example, our current guild laboratory is level 3, which allows us to upgrade guild skills up to level 80. One thing I really like about guild skills is that they give permanent stat boosts to your character, making them one of the best long-term investments for overall progression. Even though the upgrades may seem small at first, the stat bonuses become very noticeable once your levels start getting higher. Of course, you can freely choose which stats you want to prioritize depending on your playstyle and what your character currently lacks. But for Wizards' focus on PvP, this is the upgrade sequence I personally recommend. First, I level all of my basic guild skills evenly up to level 40. This gives a balanced amount of stats early on while keeping the resource cost efficient. After reaching level 40 on the basic skills, I prioritize upgrading Ignore Defense to level 60 first. Ignore Defense is extremely important because it helps your wizard deal much more consistent damage against tanky enemies and high defense classes during PvP fights. Once my Ignore Defense reaches level 60, I then focus on upgrading character attack. Increasing your character attack directly improves your overall damage output, making your burst damage much stronger. After that, I start upgrading character defense and character HP to around level 50. At this stage, survivability becomes very important because wizards can easily get burst down if they are too squishy. Having additional HP and defense allows you to survive longer and cast more spells during team fights. Once I reach this point in progression, I go back to maximizing Ignore Defense all the way to the maximum level. After that, I continue upgrading character attack, then slowly level up the remaining guild skills afterward. Overall, my priority is building a balance between damage and survivability, while making sure my wizard remains effective in high-level PvP fights. Again, this is just my personal progression path. Feel free to adjust your guild skills depending on your own playstyle, current stats, and what your character needs the most. Now we're down to the last part of the guide, the skill build. This is my personal PvP skill setup for Wizard, and so far, this build has been performing really well for me in both large-scale fights and smaller PvP encounters. Let's start with the first job skills. First, put Firebolt to level 5 to unlock Firewall. After that, upgrade Firewall to level 5, as well since it's a prerequisite for unlocking Meteor Storm later on. Firewall is also very useful in PvP for zoning enemies, blocking movement, and creating space during fights. Next, add Soul Strike level 5, followed by Cold Bolt level 5, then Frost Diver level 5. Frost Diver gives you additional crowd control potential and helps create opportunities for follow-up damage or team coordination. After that, put Increase SP Recovery to level 10 for better mana sustainability. In long PvP fights, running out of SP can become a huge problem, especially for wizards who constantly cast high-cost skills. For the remaining 5 skill points, you can choose whichever utility skill you prefer. In my case, I invested them into Stone Curse level 5 for additional crowd control and disruption during fights. Now moving on to the second job skills. First, put Sight level 1. This is a must-have skill, especially against stealth classes like Assassin Cross. Then get Sight Blaster / Sight Trasher level 3. Next, upgrade Fire Pillar to level 5. Then immediately prioritize Meteor Storm level 10, since this is one of your main DPS skills in PvP. Meteor Storm deals massive AoE damage and is extremely effective during team fights and objective battles. After that, put Water Ball level 5, then max out Storm Gust to level 10. Storm Gust is actually the skill I use the most in my playstyle because it provides huge burst damage in a large area, while also applying strong crowd control pressure. Next is Tetra Vortex. This skill is extremely powerful if used properly. Casting Tetra Vortex at the right timing can completely change the flow of the fight, especially when targeting key enemies or finishing low health opponents. The last 10 skill points should go into Quagmire. This skill is incredibly valuable in PvP because it reduces enemy agility and dexterity by 50 points, making enemies slower and significantly reducing their mobility. This gives a massive advantage to your entire team during engagements. Now for the Transcendent second job skills. Start with Napalm Vulcan level 5, then Gravitational Field level 5. After that, get Gambanian level 1. This skill is amazing for PvP, especially against professors and enemies relying on ground magic effects. The only downside is its long cooldown, so you really need to use it carefully and at the right moment. Next, invest 5 points into Elemental Awareness. This skill was recently buffed, and honestly, I really like it now. It gives a 15% chance to treat the enemy's defensive element as its weak element. What this basically means is that when I cast Meteor Storm or Storm Gust, there's a chance my spells will deal up to 100% additional damage, even if the enemy is wearing the proper elemental counter against my attacks. This makes your burst damage much more dangerous and unpredictable. After that, put Elemental Resistance level 5, then max out Mystical Amplification to level 10 for a massive magic damage boost. Next, get Teleport level 1 for additional mobility during PvP. Good positioning is extremely important for wizards, and Teleport helps you reposition quickly during dangerous situations. Lastly, take Element Control, which works as a dispel for negative elemental effects and helps improve your survivability during fights. Now, let's talk about my manual skill setup. For my first skill page, I use Storm Gust level 10, Meteor Storm level 10, Tetra Vortex level 3, Ganbantian. Under my skill bar, I also place Energy Coat, Element Control. For the last skill slot, I put Teleport. For my second skill page setup, I use Storm Gust level 1. In case you don't know how to adjust your skill level, you just need to uncheck this box. Then put Storm Gust, then it will automatically ask which level of skill you want to put. Meteor Storm level 10, Tetra Vortex level 3, Firewall level 5, Quagmire level 10, Teleport. I usually use level 1 Storm Gust to disrupt enemy formations, delay enemies during guild overrun, or interrupt pushes during large-scale fights. And for my auto skill slot, I only use Sight on my auto, and use all my skill manual, which more efficient on PvP fights. Overall, this setup gives me a very balanced combination of burst damage, crowd control, zoning utility, and survivability in PvP. If you guys have your own wizard PvP setups and want to share them with me or with other viewers, feel free to leave them in the comments section. I'd love to see different playstyles and skill combinations from the community. So far, this setup has been working extremely well for me. And that's it for my wizard PvP build guide for Ragnarok Origin Classic. If you made it all the way to this part of the video, I just want to say a huge thank you for taking the time to watch the entire guide. I really appreciate the support, and I truly hope this video helped you improve your wizard gameplay, PvP performance, and overall progression. Everything I shared in this guide is based on my personal experience, testing, and progression, and I'll continue updating my builds and setups as the game evolves. If you found this guide useful or enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support really helps me create more Ragnarok Origin Classic content, and more detailed guides like this in the future. Also, feel free to share your own wizard setups, tips, or suggestions in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts and learn from the community as well. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Good luck in PvP and have fun grinding.
Tagalog bars, yes, lakas ang dala. Sa bawat rune may apoy at ganda. Farm all night, then party by day. Kung may boss na hard, I end my way. I see chains sa gawa ko yellow, then bolt hits hard parang gulo. You want the build, I keep it clean. Fast hands, sharp mind, I'm the machine. Sabi mo saan ka nandito lang. Pag dumating ang mob, bagsak yan from left to right. I clear the floor, how wizard baby, I